Hello and welcome to Winter Disco Tabletop Gaming. Today I'm here for another Dominion unboxing reveal video. We've got a few to do for this one. There's so much to talk about. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Stormcast Eternal models. Now, before I get into that, I've also got a few other videos out there. You can check the links in the description. I've got a trailer reaction video where I filmed my reaction. We've looked at everything that's in the box, sort of a brief overview. And in this video, we're going to look at the Stormcast. There is also a video looking at the new Cruel Boy Oryx. Cruel Boy Orcs. They are Orcs, not Oryx, whatever. So yeah, this is what we're going to do, Stormcast Eternals. Some cool models in here. So first we've got Yandrastar, which we've seen before. I'm still up in the air about this model. I'm slowly coming around to it. I don't particularly know what it is about it I don't 100% like. I think it's the painting on the armor. They've gone for that silvery gold, glistening gold look, which I don't know. I think there is that color. Then you have the silver of the weapons, some more silver on the armor, silver of the scale mail, and then the white grayish color of the wings down to the gray, like dark gray, greeny color of the, I guess, ruin that she's standing on. And I think that could be the primary issue, that it's the paint job. It's all samey. I think there needs to be some elements that stand out. So that's the paint job. What else can we say about this model? I love the weapons. I really love the weapons. The wings are very well detailed too, but the weapons themselves, I love that hard edges that you get on them. So as we've talked about this model a fair bit, we're going to skip over that. And this is the first time I've noticed down in the back of the dead tree, some kind of weird creature. So yeah, I mean, I do have a video already talking about that, so you can check that out. So we want to look at some of the new videos. New models. So this is the Lord Imperatant with Gryph-hound. This is the character that's in the trailer. Check the links for the description. And he is one of the peerless leaders. They're the finest strategists of Sigmar surfaces, wielding the forces of the Stormcast Eternals in one unstoppable war engine. Again, he's standing on a command rock. We've been talking about a little bit of that on the channel. You're an important character. You stand on a rock. Even the Gryph-hound's on a rock, you know. Command rocks are a thing that must give some kind of extra power or bonus points. Soon we'll be having models that are just rocks because, you know, that's just how we're going. Yeah, like a big chunky hammer. I love the sun ray symbolism that's going on around his head. I really like that. I think we've sort of seen it before, but I love that we have the streamliness of the armor, but then we have this big ostentatious over the top bit that has sigils and runes carved all over it with lightning and sun rays coming out. I think that's just brilliant. I absolutely love it. The other thing I do love, and I want to see the back of this model, is the cloak of feathers, which looks like a griffin of some sort or some kind of giant bird. I want to see the back of what it looks like. I'm hoping that it goes a lot of the way down the cloak, not all the way. I want to have some of the cloak down the bottom. I think that would be very interesting, but there is a lot going on. I really love models that have a lot of different textures in it. So for this one, we obviously have the metal, but varying different types of metal and painted in different ways. You've got the general body armor, the different types of armor on the legs now. I think that's a really good look. I really do like how it's been. One side is one giant plate and the other side is not so giant. It has like different plates. And then underneath that, you've got the cloth. And then underneath that, you've got the scale armor. And then I was going to say on the left-hand foot, I thought that was leather for a second, but it's not. It seems to be some kind of metal. And then you have like the rope as well, different various tassels and things like that. So I love that there's a variety of different textures. And they've been painted in a different way too. So you have the armor, yeah, it's been scratched up. And the fabric's been scratched up, but you know by the way that it's folded that it is very different fabric. So I'm keen to see what's on the back of it. Like I said, I'm hoping that there's lots of feathers. I didn't mention the feathers. Yeah, that's another one of the textures that goes with this. Yeah, I'm hoping that feathers goes further down the back. I think that would be interesting, but again, not the whole cloak. Doesn't cover the whole cloak. There's still a little bit there. I think that'd be really nice. We also get different heads for this. We have the helmeted head and the actual head. A few people have pointed out that he looks a bit like Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings movies. Yep, I can see the resemblance. I really like the helmeted head though. Originally I was thinking, oh, he's got a helmet based on his own face, but I think his facial hair is taking cues from Sigmar himself. I think he's wearing that facial hair because that's what Sigmar wears, because you have the Sigmar iconography throughout the rest, particularly on the shields, and you can see it on his, I guess, shoulder protector symbol type thing there, how he has like the moustache and a bit of a beard. So I think the helmet is more based on Sigmar rather than this guy's face. I'm gonna do headcanon and say he's based it on his own face because he's that kind of guy. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, I actually do like the helmet. Surprisingly, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, I don't like helmets that have facial hair and things and hair built into it, but this works. It's not that, it's obviously hair, it's clearly hair, but it's not over the top, like it's not sculpted like hair. I like it. I like how he has two weapons there, like the big hammer and the scepter. I think I want to know what that scepter is. I think it's really cool. But of course, we have to talk about Ironbeak, who is the best boy. I thought that there was already a Gryph-hound called Ironbeak with one of the Warhammer Underworlds warbands, but I could be wrong. He's got a little helmet. He's got a face that says, you've just woken me up. Please don't talk to me. He's got a little hammer on his collar. I think that's super cute. And he's standing on a command rock as well. You know who you are. You're going to enjoy this video with all the command rocks. Yeah, I think it's a really solid model. Yeah, the whole armor itself, I'm going to talk about that with some of the other models, but I think is a big upgrade. And yeah, like you have the leather straps as well. I love the leather straps, just that kind of detail. It's not just armor that's just placed on them. It makes these people more real, that they're not just beings in armor. They actually have human personality and emotions, and that all comes from the leather straps. I know that's super weird, but you know, it's a weird thing. Okay, let's keep going on. The Knight Arcanum. So this is a keeper of ancient and forbidden knowledge. They're eccentric wizards who are able to harness and channel the fulminating powers of their fellow warriors to bring ruin to the enemies of Sigmar. Let's talk about the helmet first. I think this is going to be a very, very decisive helmet. Divisive, I should say. I can see people not liking it at all. I can see other people absolutely loving it. For the people that don't love it, for that side of the oncoming battle that will happen, I think the argument would be it doesn't fit with the armor aesthetic at all. Not just from the paint job, but from the actual design of it. It doesn't fit. And I can completely agree that it doesn't fit. However, I'm on the camp where it's the side where I think it is absolutely awesome. And it makes me want to paint Stormcast Eternals in this style. I think one of the big issues with this is the lack of facial features, which you have in the model we just looked at, which has the beard and the moustache sculpted in. The curved pieces coming out of like the gem on the forehead, I think that doesn't quite work properly. But overall, I really, really like the design, and I want to see some more elements of that in some of these models. And I'm hoping that they do explore that, because I think that's a really interesting design. So much so, it makes me want to paint all their armor in that color. Let me know what you think in the comments. I know that could be, I really think this is going to be there's going to be a split. Either you love it or you hate it. I love it. I said in another video that it reminds me of Clockwork automatons from like Dungeons and Dragons and a few other different games. So I'm hoping that they go with that. I really like it. I don't know, I just do. We're going in this with that staff there. Again, you've got a whole bunch of different lines and angles. I'm really loving how they've brought different things. And you have the leather strapped shaft of the staff, and then at the top it starts to get like metallic with straight edges and spikes and everything. And then it goes into like the comet symbol with like some gem in it. It's going to surround it with curves. I really like that play on hard, strong surfaces and then soft surfaces. And I think with the cloaks on the Stormcast, that definitely helps with them. It offsets that really cold metallic metal, because behind the head you have that big weird thing, which I don't quite get. I love it. I don't know what that is. I think there could be some really cool things done with that. But you have the cloaks that are offsets, and then you have the book and the scrolls and a few other bits and pieces. So it completely offsets that aesthetic of metal. And she's standing on a command rock, as is tradition. And I'm going to start pointing out more of the design features now of the new models. I was wondering what it was, why I like these. It's not just that the body and the armor is thinner and more lithe and more comfortable for them to wear. It's the shoulder pads. I think the shoulder pads are smaller and they're positioned in a way where you see more of their head. And we'll see that in more models, but I just wanted to point that out. It's definitely something to look out for. And we're also seeing in this new range, if we're going to call this a new chamber, I'm not sure. They have like the diamond gems that goes throughout the range. It's a little tight to tie in the whole range. So let's move on to the Knight Vexilar with the banner of Apotheosis. Banner boys. Banner boys. Obviously, I am for this model. Banner boys. I love banners. Like, what am I going to say? I can't not like banners. And in this one, I think it's clear when you look at the shoulder pads. These shoulder pads are not as big. Or they are, but they're designed in a way that aren't sitting as horizontal. I just have a Stormcast Eternal, one of the old ones, in my hand right now. And the top of the shoulder pads actually go over the head, over the height of the head. And this new range is the shoulders are a lot smaller. And to me, that just shows a bit more of a thought about how they move around, that they can actually swing the armor around, and also the legs seem a little bit smaller as well, like a little bit thinner. So I feel like these are much more movable. But anyway, we'll see that in more models. Let's talk about this banner. Yeah, it's all right. One thing I don't like, and this could be how this model was put together, is the shaft of the banner pole. Have a look at it. It's not straight. It is really off-putting. Like really, really off-putting to me. It is just not straight at all. That could be how it's constructed. I'm hoping it's not like that in actual form, because I will be messing with that to make it straight. It is really off-putting. Okay, I'm out of the way. Again, we have this play on soft materials like fabrics. And then we have like the banner is the fabric next to bits of metal. It looks like this banner is held onto the banner pole, which the banner pole is like spiky, hard-edged metal. Looks like it's attached with like little bolts, little hinges, and then it goes into the sort of round organic shapes on the banner itself, and the banner itself is floating and flapping in the winds. I love it. And again, we get the new Sigmar face, which has the moustache and the weird creepy beard, and the diamond on the back. And again, this guy's sword, really cool. I love the hard edges, but also at the same time, the soft turns in it. So there's some curves in it that sort of soften that hard, strong edge. So yeah, that's a banner boy. I'm always for new banner boys. Next up, we have the Pretools. These are the elite, and they say, and stylish bodyguards, soul bonded to the heroes they're charged to protect. So these guys, I really like them. I love the cloaks. It's almost like they have no shoulder pauldrons. And I really, really like that. I think there needed to be a change in how we dealt with the shoulder pauldrons, because they were huge. They were just too big. Like I was saying, the one I've got in front of me, just to reference, the shoulder pads were over the top of the head. Almost like not even worse than a Space Marine. So that's probably one of the reasons I never really like them. And I do like these extra models, these new versions, because they don't have that extraness attached to it. So I don't really want to talk about that much anymore because we've said a lot. Very strongly posed models. Yeah, the cloak over the shoulders with no shoulder pads. I really do like that. The leader standing on a command rock. It's on brand, must be part of the design process. Like, is there a command rock? No? Okay, go back and redesign it. But giant axes, I really do like the axes. I think the banners coming off them is a bit over the top. I don't think that's necessary. But those cloaks, oh, I want to do Space Marines like this. Just take the shoulders off and put cloaks like that. I definitely think it'll be a cool little design. Yeah, so some cool Pretools there. Now we have the Annihilators. So the description, hulking Goliaths that dish out pain as well as take it. They charge into battle with the force of a meteor. These are the chunky armor boys. Like I said, it sort of goes against what I was saying about chunky armor, but I think there's some units where it's okay to have chunky armor. In this case, we've got these boys, the giant lion face on the chest, and girls, let's say, the big ostentatious shoulder pads, which are odd, but at the same time, with the extra little panels at the bottom of them, it looks like you can maneuver around very nicely. So let's focus on the shields for a second. Awesome shields. I like them. They've all got the same ones. I was hoping for a little bit of variation, a little bit more variation in them, but it's an army. You've got to kit them out together. Yeah, I like it. It's very big and imposing. You know who you're coming against, or even if you just saw a shield, you would know who you're coming against. And then we have these giant hammers that look like they have electricity circulating all the way through it. And again, it has that little red diamond gem, 3 different locations, I think. Yeah, I like these models from a perspective of it's not an entire army. These are a specific unit that's heavy hitters, where, going back to shoulder pads again, the older Stormcast, I just think they were too chunky. They didn't feel human. They didn't feel like they could move around the battlefield fast. I don't know, there's something about it. And I think it's the paint job too, that's all a single color. But, you know, that's my own perspective. Fight me in the comments. Yeah, looking at the shoulder pads themselves, it's completely built into the armor that goes across the back. So I would imagine that from a movement perspective, those shoulder pads wouldn't move, which is okay. I don't have a problem with that. And I think because they're not even really shoulder pads as such, because it is integrated completely into the armor. But yeah, one of the problems is we've gone back to these giant legs, which I don't like. And that's one of the other things I didn't like about the Stormcast, the giant weirdly shaped legs. But that's okay. All right, let's go on to the Vindicators. This really exemplifies what I like about the new armor. So these are wielding lightning-based spears and shields. Arcs of blazing azurite power form around them and they hold the battle line. So these seems to be like the core battle line units. Shields, awesome. Very nice shields. I love how there's a variety of shields. So we have the big round ones from the Vindicators. Is that what they're called? The Annihilators, sorry. These are the Vindicators. Yeah, so the Annihilators have the big chunky shields and these have the more maneuverable shield, I would say. With the spears, again, I love the spear design, the hard edges and the spikes coming off them. All right, so the armor. We're not going to talk about the armor too much more, but you know, it's an important part of this army. I've picked up my little Stormcast Eternal again and just sort of holding it up to the screen. I mean, the shoulder pads just seem lower. That's what it comes down to. I think they're a little bit smaller on the Vindicators, but overall, they're definitely lower. The armor itself is far less chunky. We have like the upper leg parts and less going on the knee pads, based on what I can tell. It just looks slimmer and sleeker, and that's what I like about it. I found that the old Stormcast Eternal models, they're too chunky. The heads were too big in that they had the big rays coming off it. But when you can see some of them on screen, they're much more smaller rays, like a little tiny halo rather than a huge one. And I think this works for them. It makes so much more sense to me. They feel like they can move around a lot freer. And of course, there's a whole bunch of different ones as well. Different poses, like in the Dominion box, these are all going to be monopose. But when you get the actual box, you'll probably be able to put them in multiple loadouts, I would imagine. We do have a banner. A little smaller banner compared to the Vexilar, or whatever it's called, the banner of Apotheosis. I think they're cool. I don't mind them. It looks like they're going to come with multiple different heads as well, different helmets and different faces. I think that's always a good idea. So you've got, and different bodies too, so you have the female bodies and the male bodies. And I like that it's a mix of different genders. I think that's really cool. So yeah, I like the models. I love the new direction of this. They feel more human-like, I guess. I felt like when the older Stormcast, and not so much the more recent ones in the last few years, they felt very robotic and it was like armor. And when I first saw them, because I was out of the hobby for a little bit, I didn't really know what was going on with Stormcast Eternals. I left the hobby before the end times began. I thought that these were just avatars. They weren't inhabited by anyone. They were just basically godlike armor with not even anything in them. I didn't realize there were people in them. So I think in the last few years, they've made an effort to make sure that it's very clear that there are people in them. And you can see that particularly in this new range. I think that's really good. So that's what comes in the Dominion box. But that's not the only thing that we've got. We've got a few more that are coming out soon. We have the Knightjudicator with Griffhounds. So it looks like this is a single model standing on a giant command rock with a huge bow and arrow with 2 Griffhounds and one standing on a command rock. You know, we're going with command rock. That's what it's called now. It's a command rock. Again, I like this model. I love the helmet in this one, actually. This guy's helmet is very different to the rest of them. Much more sleeker. Like, they need to see. They're not going to get in a lot of trouble because they're not going to be in the fight. They're going to be from a distance. And I like it. I want to talk about the bow. How big is that bow? It is taller than this dude completely. Almost probably not quite a third, maybe a fifth taller than him. I think that's really cool. Like, I really do. And I'm hoping that they do a archer unit. I think that would be really cool. Like some electric arrows. They run around and like boo 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 and then run away. I think it's cool. And not the Gryphounds. So 2 Gryphounds here. Yeah, just beaky boys going around biting people. Yeah, not much more to say on that. We also get the Stormstrike Chariot. I saw this and I'm like, oh, a chariot. How have we not had chariots for these guys? Come on, it makes so much sense. I'm not a huge fan of the design. I want something a little bit more ostentatious, but they have huge griff chargers pulling it. Yeah, I think that's cool. Like, I don't like the model itself. I like the idea, and I think there could be some cooler stuff done with it. I feel like there's not enough detail on there. But again, I think we need to see some more angles. There may be some extra bits that you can attach, probably different loadouts for the models. And this guy seems to have, well, he doesn't seem to have, he has a bow, but it looks smaller than the other guy. And again, the armor on the arms is different. The armor on the legs is slightly different. I love the different kind of variations that they've got now. Like, you've got 2 different helmets here, which are very different helmets to the rest of the range. I think it's super cool. Really cool, interesting models. I'm really excited for where they're going with this range. It feels like the models themselves are far more dynamic. You can see that they're going to be moving a lot faster, where previous models, they were a lot chunkier, and I feel like they would take a lot of damage. They wouldn't be able to maneuver. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's it. Long talk, but like I said, there's lots to talk about. So let me know what you think is your favorite. Check out the playlist, which has all the other Dominion videos and unboxings and reveals and talks and stuff like that, because there's going to be more news that are going to be coming out that we're going to have to cover. You want to like that video, hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out social media at the end. See you next time.